My entire 35 years on this planet, I have lived in South Fort Collins. Now, 9 months of my life, I did live in Northwest Loveland, but otherwise, I have always lived south of Horsetooth Road. And Fort Collins is a grid pattern that really has a north-south dividing line and an east-west dividing line. East-west is College Avenue, north-south is Prospect Road. Anything north is considered North Fort Collins, south of that is South Fort Collins. And I have always lived in South Fort Collins. But recently, with our renovation project that lasted we're in week 12 now, but will be done by the time this video airs, hopefully. We lived in North Fort Collins, north of Terry Lake, actually. And I thought it'd be a really interesting opportunity to discuss the differences between living in North Fort Collins and South Fort Collins. So today we are going to talk about pros of living north and pros of living south. My name is Patrick Soukup, and this is the Living in Fort Collins YouTube channel, where you can come and learn everything there is to know about Northern Colorado and Fort Collins. And today we're going to talk about the differences between living north and south. Quick story, my cousin lives north, but he used to live just about 3 blocks away from me in southeast Fort Collins. And he suggested that he just never comes south of Prospect. And it's super interesting because I was like, that's just you being, you. I love my cousin to death, but I felt that was kind of like a nose in the air. I never come south, blah. But after living north, I could see how you really probably need to develop your entire lifestyle around North Fort Collins, because south to North Fort Collins, I am basically LeMay and Trilby, which is really getting close to the furthest southeast part of Fort Collins you can get to north where Eagle Lake is, which is essentially as far north Fort Collins before you get to Wellington. It takes 35 minutes. So you really want to develop your lifestyle around where you live geographically. Otherwise, you're going to be in the car all the time. And that's what we found while living in North Fort Collins. But let's jump into pros of living north of Prospect Road. You're going to be closer to the Poudre Canyon and going up to Red Feather, Laramie, Wyoming, and the Poudre River. So if your jam is getting up into the mountains, you're going to want to live North Fort Collins, because it's just going to be a quicker, easier trip for you. Jump in the car, jump on 287, and you're really up to Owl Canyon from where I was within 15 minutes, and Livermore and Red Feather. So if you like to hike and camp or go up the Poudre Canyon, living North Fort Collins would really dramatically decrease your drive time when you take those trips. Also, you are closer to downtown Fort Collins. Now, it only took me about 7 minutes because there's very little traffic and stoplights when heading from north to south. And probably one of the biggest game changers of North Fort Collins in the last decade really probably forever is the LeMay overpass. Living North Fort Collins, if you're coming south, you are very likely, or you were very likely, to get caught up on the train going east and west. Whether that was at College or LeMay, you were going to get stuck behind there. In fact, one morning I was coming to the gym from north to south, and I did at 5 a.m. got caught up on that train, and I sat there for 5-10 minutes, and I was like, all right, I got to get to the gym. I got to meet my workout partner. So I flipped a U, went over the LeMay overpass, but it has really changed the development landscape. There's already 3 developments under review over kind of by Suniga and LeMay, and there's going to be some really cool buildings and opportunities and residential and commercial going on there here very soon. But you're super close to downtown Fort Collins, so if you're liking to go out to eat, hang around down in Old Town, it was only a 7-minute drive, and it was really pretty quick for us to get downtown. In addition, you're actually right in the heart of CSU. CSU, the backbone of Fort Collins, is Colorado State University. Darren Atterbury, our old city manager, suggested on a podcast on Fort Collins Fellows that if anybody suggests that the backbone of Fort Collins is not Colorado State University, tell them that they're crazy, because ultimately we are a university town. A lot of our economies are driven and developed by the strength of Colorado State University, and that is north of Prospect Road. So a lot of rentals, a lot of student housing, a lot of cool restaurants and retails are going to be in north that really try to build around that student 30,000 population at Colorado State University. Now, Fort Collins became a city or was incorporated in the late 1800s, 1880s basically, and really was built around downtown Fort Collins and grew out from there. But all of the character in Old Town is really north of Prospect Road. So if you're looking for Fort Collins, old Fort Collins, character of Fort Collins, you want to be north of Prospect Road. South is, there's some really cool built, neighborhoods, Indian Hills, Parkwood, Clarendon Hills, lots of really cool character type houses and developments, but they're going to be newer. They're going to be 1960s and 70s, and then really 90s and 2000s from as the further south you get. So you're going to want character. You're going to want to be north of Prospect Road. Now, there are some cool developments that are going on in North Fort Collins. Montava that's going in Northwest Fort Collins. There's going to be a lot of development in Northwest Fort Collins. I mean, there's going to be 30,000 people in that development over the next 30 years. So it's going to change the landscape of Northeast Fort Collins moving forward. Now, the two last things are, if you live in North Fort Collins, North Prospect Road, yes, you're probably going to be closer to Old Town, very dense area. So likelihood is you're going to be in the city of Fort Collins. But if you live outside of that area, it's a better chance you're going to be in the county versus the city. So you're going to be paying county taxes and not have to pay 3.85% city sales tax. So when you buy a vehicle or something along those lines, big ticket items, your city sales tax doesn't apply if you are in the county. Now, as the annexations go along Mulberry and Old North College Avenue, you might become more part of the city, but you're going to get those amenities, curbs, streets, police, ambulance services, things of that nature you're going to get when you become part of the city proper. And then finally, Lincoln Center and the Museum of Discovery is in North Fort Collins. So if you like the arts and if you want to have your kids going to really something cool to go enjoy, we take them probably once every 2 months is where we go to the Discovery Museum. And then Lincoln Center, we don't use enough. There was actually a really great comedian that just came through there. There's lots of great acts and shows that we don't take enough of an opportunity to go there. But Lincoln Center gets not enough credit for as cool of a place as it really is. So Lincoln Center and other opportunities are going to be in North Fort Collins. All right, but enough of North. Now, living in North, my experience was great, but it definitely, you're going to want to have that lifestyle designed around there. But I am very, very familiar with South Fort Collins. So let's jump into some of the pros for South. Now, we are parents of 5 years. My daughter's birthday is tomorrow, actually. Now, when we release this, it will have been probably about 2 or 3 weeks, but she is turning 5. So I've been a parent for 5 years, and as a parent, we love to take them to the parks. And South Fort Collins has some amazing parks. It's got Spring Canyon, Fossil Creek, Warren Park, Twin Silos, Roland Moore. There's going to be other parks that are built, but some of the best parks are in South Fort Collins. Now, City Park, North, probably one of the coolest parks in Fort Collins, absolutely. Food truck rallies coming up live here shortly. But South Fort Collins has some very cool big parks, great amenities, splash pads. So I would say the parks in South Fort Collins are phenomenal. Now, you're also going to be closer to DIA. Now, it's not a big of a change, but we did have to I took my mom to DIA from North Fort Collins. It does add about 15 to 20 minutes. Now, if you're going to DIA often, that can definitely add up. If you go there once a year, probably not too big of a deal. But South Fort Collins, you can jump onto Harmony Road or Carpenter and then jump onto I-25 really pretty quickly and head down south to Denver. Or if you find yourself going to Denver, South Fort Collins would probably be the way to go because you are going to save probably 15 to 20 minutes north to south. Now, Fort Collins is a platinum-rated bike community, and we have some amazing bike trails, and a lot of them are on the south side. Now, Spring Canyon, Power Trail, Mason Trail, the majority of those paths are on the south side of Fort Collins. Now, North does have some really cool bike paths coming and going to be built, and eventually you're going to be able to get from Bellevue to Greeley on the Pooter Trail. So the North Fort Collins paths are phenomenal, but South definitely has a lot. I can jump onto a bike path from my house and quickly get from South to Old Town in about 30 minutes with very little traffic. And they're gonna connect eventually that McMurray Power Trail, so you don't have to cross Harmony Road. You can stick on a path, which will be a game changer and probably decrease the travel time from south to north to Old Town from 30 minutes to maybe 25 minutes on the Power Trail. Mason Trail, super, super quick. Now, again, I'm a parent. I'm excited about putting my kids through schools, and South Fort Collins, on average, has the better ranked schools. Now, You could definitely argue rankings and things of that nature and how they get to those numbers, but generally speaking, the better ranked schools are in South Fort Collins, both charter schools and public schools. Now there's a private school, St. Joe's, that's in North Fort Collins, great school if you want the more private school, but South Fort Collins public schools will have a better on average ranking than North. So if you are looking for a better public school system, South would be where you'd want to be. Now, finally, while South is definitely more suburban area, a lot more kind of houses, lots, bigger houses, things of that nature, we do have some cool commercial along the Harmony Corridor. DC Oaks, the Front Range Village, we've got some really cool things that are being built and developed because there's so much houses in South Fort Collins. And, as I've said in previous shows, that commercial follows residential rooftops, and we have the residential rooftops. So commercial is being built and developed all along the Harmony Corridor. And then obviously College Avenue is a strong commercial corridor as well. So you don't have to go north to Old Town. In fact, when I worked in Old Town for a decade, I didn't find myself going down to Old Town on the weekends nearly as much. A lot of our restaurants and places that we'd shop were all focused and really revolved around being in South, and you could do that. So you don't have to go north to shop or go out to restaurants by any means. You can 100% stay South. So there you have it, living in North Fort Collins versus South Fort Collins, the pros of each. Now, my personal experience of living in North Fort Collins, I say I was there for 8 weeks. It was nice. It was quick and easy to downtown, which was attractive for me because I worked downtown Fort Collins. Our house, though, is in South, so we found ourselves driving a substantial amount from north to our house to check on things, the contractors and things of that sort. So I don't necessarily think I got the full experience of living in North, because I think to really enjoy either North or South, and I clarified this with a buddy of mine who has lived in North Fort Collins his entire life, that you would just develop your lifestyle around that, your gyms, your restaurants, your grocery shopping, and you can do that in North. You can do that in South. And for us, we want to stay off the roads. We are a platinum rated bike community. So building those bike paths and being able to have a 15-minute commute, city commute, is kind of a goal of Fort Collins. And you can do that if you really wanted to in South or North. But living in North versus South, there's absolutely pros of each. I think it's just really a conversation that you want to have with you and yours if you are considering moving to Fort Collins. And if you want to have a conversation that goes in deeper and further to that, I can kind of talk to you and show you references and examples of families or individuals who have moved to North Fort Collins or South Fort Collins and what they like and maybe don't like, and maybe what things they would have considered differently. So never hesitate to reach out if you're considering buying, selling, or investing here in Northern Colorado. We are licensed real estate agents, so give us a call, text, or email, and we have your back. This is Living in Fort Collins, all about Northern Colorado. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.